Well, there is still significant momentum behind trade and globalization. Business and consumers around the world are making goods, services, ideas, data flow from one country to another. And we see it in the data. For example, merchandise goods trade is estimated to grow in 2022 by between 8 to 10%. Also, merchandise trade between the U.S. and China reached over 700 billion US dollars in 2022, which is over 20% higher than its peak level in 2018. Now, it is true that globalization is changing, and this is an important aspect, and it's changing in many ways. For example, an important part of trade takes place now in trade in digital services. This was growing before the pandemic at an important rate of 7%, but the pandemic supercharged the digital economy, as we know, and today, in 2021 and 2022, exports of digitally traded services grew by 14%. It's also changing because supply chains are being reconfigured. There is the interest in achieving a different equilibrium between efficiency and risk. So you see multinational firms adopting strategies in this area. And then you're also seeing government actions, some of which may tend to go in the direction of slowing down globalization. But at the end of the day, there are significant costs of going in this direction. So I think that there is also a bit of care that should be taken in this regard to avoid fragmentation of the global economy. The World Trade Organization can help mitigate some of the risks that we are seeing today. And it can do so in several ways. One, it can help mitigate and even de-escalate tensions among members. And this is a very important role that the WTO plays by fostering dialogue, by building trust, by even establishing some guardrails to make sure that the protectionism does not spiral. A second way in which the WTO can contribute also is to fostering collaboration and maybe even convergence in areas where their governments are aligned. I'm thinking, for example, about the importance of coordination among governments on climate change, but the same is true for issues as important as health security, food security, and energy security. And the third way in which the WTO can contribute is by helping untap new sources of growth, for example, digital trade or green trade as well. Well, I think one important reason is that the world is just coming out of a pandemic. We're still facing part of the pandemic. There is, the need to tackle many of the challenges that we are facing on the climate front, but also on the financial front and on others. And I think that I see signals that in the context of the WTO, members come together on very specific things to try to reach agreements.